Hey there, this is Akshit Madan and welcome back to a new video. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a decision making application. So this application will be very basic. It will not be very hi-fi. So I'm going to make this project for beginners and intermediates. And you know that I was a part of Ringisho team. So Ringisho is a decision making tool application from which you can make your decision very fastly using the polls, pros and cons, and various templates which are provided in this application. This application is available for Play Store and App Store. You can check that out. And using a very basic feature from this application like polls and like decision making, I have been motivated to create this video so that you also learn how I coded in this application, and you can also consider this project as your college project or as a learning project. So as I told that this video is for beginners and intermediate, so I think that this video will be very helpful for them. And I think now, without wasting more time, let's start my Visual Studio Code and let's start working on it. So I'm going to show you how you can connect with Firebase for iOS and Android both, and how you can work with polls package, which is a Flutter package, and how you can make like such an application for using which people can make decision very fastly using polls template, right? So let's hit Shift Command P and create a Flutter application. So let me just create this on desktop and click, and let me call it Decision Light, because okay, so this so Decision Light application, because it's a lighter version of Ringisho application, or very lighter version of Ringisho application. And now let me just close this. And so okay, our Flutter is running and our application is created. So as you know that, first of all, I like to create the project structure, because it's very good if you are learning Flutter for industry standards, and if you want to work in industry, then it's very good to have a good project structure in your projects, because interviewers will definitely see your projects through your resume. So if they will find a good project structure, that will be very good. Or if you are a startup owner or a developer who is working for a startup, then also it will be very good if you have a good project structure. So I have already made a video on project structure, in fact 2 videos. You can check the latest one and you can get what is the best project structure for your applications. So in the lib folder, first of all, I'm going to create auth, because we will be having email and password authentication so that we can make the users unique, right? So after auth folder, I'm going to create pages folder, which will have all the UI stuff of the pages. And after that, I'm going to have services folder, which will have all the functions of Firebase and everything, right? Backend you can consider. And then I'll have utilities folder, or utils you can say, which will have colors file, styles file, or anything related to your front end styling that can be created in utils. After that, I'm going to create widgets folder, which will have smaller components, smaller widgets of my pages, right? So project structure is ready. Now we need to create main.dart. So first of all, let's also go on Chrome and let me go on Firebase. Yes, let me go to Firebase. Let me create a new application. Yes, let's get started. Let me add a project. Let me call it Decision Light app, right? I confirm, click on continue. And first of all, let's make it compatible with iOS. Then I'll show you how you can make it compatible with Android. So I'm going to show you both. So till it is running, let me just do an advertisement of myself. So I am the founder of growmonks.in. So if you are a startup owner and you want application service or web dev service, or you want UI UX services for your startup, then I'm there to help you out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out on this contact number. You can also fill this form and we will reach out to you, right? So this is my freelancing agency, and we work with Flutter, Firebase, Flutterflow, MERN-Stack, React, WordPress, Django, and all that, right? And Figma, of course. So yeah, so let's get back to a Firebase and click on continue. My application will be ready, and let me click on iOS. So let's add our iOS application. So first of all, in the iOS, click on iOS and right click on this folder and click on open in Xcode, so that our iOS application will be open in Xcode. We can see the bundle ID or bundle identifier, and we can also add our Google services info.plist file, right? So I think this is open, and let me click on runner. And yes, so this is my identifier. Let me click Control C and let me paste that over here. And we don't need these two things. Let me click on register app, and let me now download the configuration file. Let it work. Yes, it's ready. So let's download it. And it it's downloaded. So let me go on my downloads. Where is Google services? Google services.json this is, and yes, so this is my file. I'm going to keep it in yes, over here in the runner, and yes, make sure that this is checkmarked and click on finish. So my Google services.info.plist is added, and now let's go to Firebase again, click on next, and it will allow me to, or it will tell me to add the Firebase initialization code in my app-delegate.swift class. So let me copy these two things, and let me go to click on iOS. In the runner there is app-delegate.swift, import Firebase over here, and over here control C Firebase app.configure in the boolean, paste it. So this is ready, and now let me click on next. Let me click on continue to console. Our iOS application is connected with my Firebase, as you can see. Let me click on add app for Android, select Android, and you can go in Android app build.gradle, and from here you will find your identifier, which is same, and paste it. You can give your SHA1 key if you want, because we are just having email authentication. For that it will not require. If you're working with Google sign-in or phone authentication, then it will be required. And before downloading this file, I'll delete one more Google services.json file which is there in my downloads folder, so that no confusion should be there. Yes, let me just delete it, and from here you can now download this file. Yes, it's downloaded. Let me get back to my downloads. This is the thing, and let me paste in app folder. Yes, that's good. Yes, so we are ready. And now to add the initialization code for Android, first of all we need to add this class path in my project /build.gradle. You can skip this complete part if you already know how to connect your application with Firebase, right? So let me go to build.gradle, and yes, this one, and I'm going to paste this one in my dependencies. Not this one. Yes, this build.gradle, and I'll paste this in my dependencies thing, and I'm going to copy. Yes, everything is done in this. Now we need to apply plugin of Google services in my app build.gradle, and I'm going to paste it over here. So this is also done, and I'm going to add these two implementations. So add this implementation, add the second implementation, and we will be done. Yes, one more thing, we need to add multi-dex enabled to be true. So Command S. This is all set. Click on next, and we have connected our Android application. Perfect. So now you can take a break of 1 minute if you want, or we can continue. Main.dart. Yes. So let me open this application in an iOS simulator, and let's see if we are ready to go further. And let me add this emulator over here. Yes, perfect. And let me close Xcode so that our RAM should not be consumed, right? And yes, we are ready to go. Let me click on run without debugging. I think one error may come due to Cocoa pods, if we may have to update them, and let's see if it comes, then we will solve that out. But still we haven't added the Firebase dependencies, right? So let's first run this one, and then we will add our Firebase dependencies in our pubspec.yaml. So as you can see that my application is running. So now it is the time to add some packages in my pubspec.yaml. So go in dependencies, and first thing that we are going to enter, let me increase the font size. Yes. So first package that we are going to add is Firebase auth for email and password. And then I'm going to add Cloud Firestore, and then it will be Firebase core, as you know, for initialization of your Firebase application. And then we will also have polls. So this is a Flutter package that we are going to use for creating polls for the users so that they can select one option. And then I'm going to use provider package for provider state management. So it will be very good if you have already having the knowledge of provider, but if you're not, this I'm going to make it very simple for you to understand. So let Flutter pub get run, and let's wait, and then we will also initialize our Flutter application, sorry, Firebase application in our main.dart. So let me go to main.dart, and now we are going to add in the void main only. Before running my app, I'm going to first of all add widgets binding, so that widgets get loaded before our Firebase app is getting initialized, right? So widget Flutter binding dot ensure initialize, that means they are ensure that they have been initialized. And then I'm going to add await, so we need to add async over here, await Firebase app dot Firebase dot initialize app, Firebase dot initialize, Firebase dot initialize app. Perfect. Yes, we are ready to go. And now let me run it again. So now our app is running and our Firebase is successfully connected to our Flutter application. So now I'm going to start building the application. So first of all, I'm going to add a color that I'm going to use in my complete application, that is blue color. So you can choose your own colors. So I'm going to add a file called colors.dart in my utils, and I'm going to first of all import material.dart, material.dart. Yes, and then let me just close this, and let me also increase the font size. Yes, and over here I'm going to create a class of app colors, and if you watch all my videos, you know that I always do this before creating the application. I always define the colors. Static color, primary color, let's call it primary color, or primary is equal to colors dot blue. And yes, so our class is ready. So here you can define as many colors as you want, for dark theme, for light theme, and you can define on your color of your own also, right? I'm just using blue color, or we can use, let's say, green color. And let me just save it. And now I'm going to go on my main.dart, and over here I am going to define, first of all, I'm going to clean all this. Let's build everything from the scratch. And over here, first of all, okay, let me just not like delete everything, because we had already connected Firebase over here. Let me clean my app, and I'm going to like create my app from the scratch. Yes, so let's create a stateless widget, and let's call it my app. In fact, stateful will be better, because we are also going to connect our providers later on. For that, we require stateful widgets. Yes. So I think after that we need to define a material app over here. And yes, so if you're finding these blue underlines, that means your lints are switched on. So for that, you need to go on analysis options.yml, and you can Control A and comment it out. And when you are making an application for production or internship or industry project, then you can make them on, right? For now, let's not worry about lints. And in this material app, I'm going to remove the banner, that is debug banner. So I'm going to make it false. And now I'm going to define my theme, and theme will be nothing but theme data. And in that, I'm going to define my primary color, and primary color will be app colors dot primary that we just defined. So my colors are ready, and now it will give me this error. That's not a problem. And now what I need to do is, yes, my app state, this is good. Yes, it is not showing anything because we haven't created any scaffold yet. So I'm going to create a home in this material app. So I'm going to call it home. And in this home, I'm going to draw a stream builder, right? Why a stream builder? Because we need to check whether that user is authenticated or not, whether that user has signed up or not, he or she is logged in or not, right? And I'm going to make the stream of the stream builder as Firebase auth dot instance dot on auth state changes. And then I'm going to define my builder, and in this builder I'm going to define context and snapshot, and then I'm going to check if my snapshot has data. That means the user is authenticated. So if the user is authenticated, then I'm going to return him the home screen. We are going to draw it very soon. And else, so where is this if is ending? Over here. So if the user is not authenticated, then I'm going to return him the welcome screen of my application. This also we are going to draw or design very soon. So we are ready. And now I'm going to draw my or design my home screen and my welcome screen. So let's start with welcome. So in the auth folder, I'm going to draw one file. I'm going to create one file called welcome dot dart, and second file I'm going to create login dot dart. So let me just create that, login dot dart. Yes, this will contain all the login page, that is email and password asking and all that. But before that, let's import material dot dart in my welcome, and then I'm going to create a stateful widget called welcome, right? And here I can define scaffold, and in this scaffold I'm going to draw first of all in the body. I'm not going to draw any this thing, what you can say, app bar. I'm going to just draw body, and in this I'm going to define center, and center I'm going to define child, which will be a container, and container will have a child with text as decision light, or let's not give the space, let's enter. Yes, in the main.dart we also need to define one home. So for home, I'm going to go in my lib pages, and here I'm going to draw home.dart. Let me copy this line, that is material.dart, from here, put this in home, and here also I'm going to draw a stateful widget called home. Yes, let's save it. In the main.dart, let's import home.dart, which we had just created, and also welcome.dart. We are ready to go. And yes, you can see decision light text at the center. Go in welcome.dart and change its styling. Font size, let's give it 28, and font weight, let's give it font weight dot bold. Yes, this is decision light, and now I'm going to create one sized box to give the spacing after this container. What's the problem? Yes, we had not wrapped this container in the column, so let me just wrap it with column, and now let me just remove it. In the container, after the container, I'm going to define one sized box. Let's give the height as 20, and now I'm going to draw one container which will have a elevated button. So child elevated button. On press will be currently empty, and this will have a child of text, and what I should keep in the text, let's call it authenticate. Perfect, this is good. And now let me just save it, and in the column main axis alignment will be main axis alignment dot center. Yes, this is good. And yeah, it doesn't look that good, but I think designing you can handle on your own. But let me just keep the width as not 50, width will be double dot infinity, and height will be 50. Yes, we also need to give one, let's wrap this center with a padding, and let's give the padding from all as 14. Okay, this looks good. And now it's time to draw our login.dart. So I'm going to import material.dart first of all. Create a stateful widget, login. And in this, I'm going to draw some text fields and a simple login page. So over here in the welcome.dart, if person clicks on this authenticate, then I want him to go to navigator.push material page route, and it will take the context, pass this context to login.dart, save it, Control S, and now if I just click on this, you will be okay. Let me just refresh, and in the login.dart, let me return a scaffold instead of a container. And now in the container, I'm going to have my height. Okay, I need to define one app bar also. So let me just define app bar. Let's give a simple app bar. And now I need to give a body. Body will be having a container. Body container, then height. Let's give it media query dot of context dot size dot height. Let's give width, the same thing, but it will be width now. Perfect. This is ready, and now I'm also going to initialize some variables. So first is going to be my form key, the key which will be assigned to my form. So final form key is equal to global key of type form state. That's good. And next thing will be a variable of email, which will be currently empty, and it will be assigned when the user writes an email in the box. Then let's define where password, which will be empty, and next define where username of the user. This is also good. And boolean, if the person is on login page or sign up page. Is login page. Currently I'm going to show this thing, sign up page, so it will be false. Now it's time to draw our text fields. So to this container I'm going to define child and a form, and this form will first of all have a key. So it will be having a key of form key. This is good. Child will be having a column with children, and in this the children, first of all I'll have main access alignment dot center, which will be coming over here, main access alignment dot center. In the children I'm going to define text form field. This text form field I only want to show when the user is on sign up page. So if not is login page, then show this text form field. Or what I can do is, if not login page or is login page, then I want to show a simple container, and if the user is on sign up page, then show a text form field, because this text form field is going to have or going to ask for username. Login page does not ask for username, right? Okay. Keyboard type will be text input type dot email address, and after that I'm going to have a key, and it will be having a value key, and it will have a username. And after this I'm going to have also a decoration. So let's add a decoration, input decoration, and let me just save it, and let me go on this thing. Yes, I can see this text form field, and input decoration, which will have border, outline input border, and in this outline input border I need to give border radius and border side. So border radius circular 10, border side will be just a border side, so it is going to show you a border side. Let me just save it. I can see the text form field, but one thing that I want to give is container will have padding edge insets dot all 14. This is good. And I will also have one label text. So after this I'm going to have inside the decoration label text, it will be label text, and this will be enter username. Perfect. I can see enter username at the top when the user will be writing. So this is good. And I think we need to add validator and on saved now. So validator means if the user does not enter his username and he or she is trying to sign up, that time this validator will be active. So validator will get a value, whatever user has written in the text form field value. If value dot length is equal to 0, I'll check, return enter this thing username. Perfect. Else if the user has written something, return null. This is validator. Now let's add on saved, which will have my value, and in on saved I'm going to say that username will be my whatever value user has written in the text form field. This text form field is completely ready. So now we need to copy this text form field, and I'm going to paste 2 times. 1 time, 2 times. What's the error? Yes, so I need to add a comma, and over here, first thing I need to change enter email, and everything looks good. On saved will be email is equal to value, key will be email, enter email, then yes, enter email, save it. Okay, so what is this? Duplicate key is found. Yes, over here also we need to change the key as password, enter password. This is good. Enter. Okay, so this I changed to email, so it will be enter password. Yeah, everything looks good now. Yes, this one on saved will be password. Save it. I can see 3 text form fields. Now let's add some sized box over here with height of 10. Let me just copy this stuff. Let me paste it over here. Save it. Yes, and now let's add a text elevated button. So this I'm going to copy from here itself, and let's add this below this one, and I'll add one sized box between fields and my button. Good. So if my text, so if is login page is true, then show login, otherwise show sign up. Simple, right? So now it is showing sign up. This is good. And now I need to also write some functions. So all those functions we will be writing in my services, and in this services I'm going to create a file called auth functions dot sorry, let me just rename dart. So now let's add some functions. So for writing the authentication functions, I'm not going to write them from scratch. There is a website called firebase.flutter.dev, and yeah, it is called Flutter Fire. You can go inside authentication. Let me go to get started. Go on authentication. Click on email password. Where is it? Okay, let's go like this. Where is it? Manage users, password auth. Yes, yes, this is the one. So this is the code for sign up using email and password, and this is the code for sign in, right? You can see sign in with email and password. So let's copy these two things, and let me create a function over here called sign up user, right? So let's call a function, or let's create a function sign up user, and obviously it will be an async function, and I'll paste that code. And over here I'm going to import my Firebase auth email address and password that we are going to take as parameter of this function. So string email, and let's make it password, right? Email password. And we are also going to take the username. So username, and one more thing that we need to take is build context of that previous screen. So build context, so that we can show a message from the bottom, that is scaffold message that user is authenticated, right? So over here change this to email, and change it to this is password. Perfect. So this will be created, and now as soon as this is created, what I need to do is, as soon as my create password, email and password are created or done, then first of all I need to do navigator dot pop, because what will happen is, the significance of this line is when the user will be authenticated, the most base screen will be changed to home, right? Because we have written a condition in main.dart that if it user is authenticated, then show home. But as you know that you are and the base screen for you was welcome screen before, but now you use a navigator.push to come to this screen. So you need to pop this screen, and then the base screen home will be shown to you, right? I hope you are understanding. Or you can remove this line, that is navigator.pop, and then you can check what's happening, right? And next thing that I want to do is await Firebase auth dot instance dot current user dot update display name. Display name will be updated to username. Perfect. And add a null check over here. And one more thing, the user email we also need to update. So await Firebase auth dot instance dot current user dot update email, and it will be email. Yes, this is good. And add a null check, remove from here. This is all good. So our sign up is ready. And one more thing that we need to do is, let's make it short and let me just close this a little bit. Yes, I need to create one more function for sign in, and then I'm going to create one more function for saving the user data. So let's copy this function and let me call this function as sign in user, and this will also take string email password async, paste that code. So email address will be changed to email. This is all good, everything is good. And over here we need to also change, we also need to take build context. So let me just copy this, let me just paste it over here. Everything looks good now. And now I'm going to write a function, save user data async await Firebase Firestore. Okay, what I'm writing, just a second. Await Firebase Firestore.instance dot collection, and I'm going to create a collection called users. Let's not let's create users collection, users dot doc. So document will be current user dot uid, that means the user id of current user. So I'm going to define over here at the top that what is my current user. So user current user is equal to Firebase auth dot instance dot current user. Perfect, this is good. And now I can say that doc will be current user dot uid. Add a null check. This is all good. And now we can set the data for this user. Set will be, first thing I'm going to set the email of the user. Let's take it email, because I'm going to take the email from here, email and username. Perfect. So let's set the email. And first of all, I think UID should be saved. So UID will be again current user dot UID. So current user dot UID. And after that I'm saving email, and lastly I'm going to save my username of the user. Perfect. So this is all good. Yes, so this is all working. And after sign up, as you know that I need to call my save user data. Save user data, email and username will be passed. Perfect. So this is all good. Sign in is already good, but I also need to add navigator.pop in my sign in too after my user is signed in. Perfect. So this is all good. And I think we are ready to go, and we are ready to add these functions over here in my login.dart. So where is my button? Yes, on press. So first of all, I'll check if my form key is validated or not. So if form key dot current state dot validate, let's add a null check dot validate. If it is validated, then I'm going to first of all save the form key. That means I'm saving the form key dot current state dot save, so that all the variables will have email, password and username respectively. It will be saved, and then I'm going to check if I am on login page, then call the sign in function, sign in user, right? Otherwise call the sign up function. Yes, sorry, not sign in, sign up user. context, email, password, username. Perfect. This is all good. And we have attached our functions too. Let me just refresh the app, and then I'm going to see if it is working perfectly, and we should be redirected to our home page. So let's authenticate. Let me add username as Akshit Madan, email as akmadan1717@gmail.com, password 123456. Let me, okay, and yeah, in the password you can add obscure text to be true, so that this password should not be visible if someone is standing behind you, right? So obscure text to be true, not the semicolon, just a comma. Okay, so yeah, you can see it is now hidden. And now let me click on sign up, and let me also open this. We have already called the function. Let me refresh. Okay, so I think user was not authenticated. So let me click over here, username. Let me again add Akshit Madan. Email, let me add this, pass 123456. Click on sign up. So this is not getting called only. So what's the error? Form key, I'm on the right page. Yeah, I'm on the right page. On press dot validate form key dot current state dot save. Or let me just comment this out, and let me print email. Let me print my password to just check if everything is getting saved perfectly, and let me save, or let me print username. So let me just save it. Let me refresh. Let me take it up. Let me put this password, click on sign up. Yeah, all these three things are getting saved perfectly. So why it is not getting called? So let me do one thing. Let me just comment this now, and this should be running. If I'm on login page, then I'm going to say sign in user. If I'm on sign up page, yes, this is correct. And email, password, and username. Okay, one more thing that we need to add below this elevated button, that is to change whether you are on sign up page and or login page, right? So I'm going to add this, and I'm going to add a text button. On press will say set state is login page is equal to not is login page. Perfect. And child will say first of all, if I am on login page already, then say sign up, otherwise say login. Let me save it. I can see log in now. So let me click on login, and I can see the login page now. Okay, so I got the error why it is not getting authenticated. So this we have completely built. Let me go to Firebase, and we did a very silly mistake. We did not initialize our authentication on Firebase. We did not initialize our Firebase authentication module. So click on email, password, enable them, click on save, and now the magic will happen, and now I'll be able to see the user over here. Let's add the username, Akshit Madan, email 1717@gmail.com, password, and let me click on sign up. Now you can see I'm signed up, and I can see home screen, because in home screen I have just created a container. So let me change this container to a simple scaffold, and let me just save it, and now you can see white screen. So this is good, and now it is the time to create our home screen. like what will happen, what we will have on our home screen. So let's do that. So in this scaffold, first of all, let's define an app bar. And after this app bar, let's define a title to this app bar. And yeah, so let's give it a text and let's call it decision light. Let me just save it. We got the app bar. After this title, let's give it an action to sign out, just in case we want to test the authentication part again. So I'm going to give it an icon button, and it will be an async function, and let's make it await Firebase auth.instance.signout. This is good. And icon will be icons.home. This is just a testing. So in real case, this button will not be there. This is just to log out if you want to test the authentication part again, right? So let's come out of the app bar. Let's define a body, and in this body I'm going to define a page view because I am thinking to keep a bottom navigation bar. You will find the same bottom navigation bar in Ringisho also. We have used their bottom navigation bar, so that's why I want to keep it. But here I'm going to keep it two options. First one will be for dashboard, where all the decisions will be visible, and second one will be to create a new decision, right? Okay, that's good. So let's define a page controller also. So I'm going to define in this class, first of all, int index. So it will be selected index, which is going to keep the track of the index that we have selected. So initially 0, and I'm going to define a page controller, and this will be page controller is equal to, let's initialize it with a page controller, and this is good. So let's define page view. Let's give it a controller. Let's give it page controller, and this is done. After this, we have defined page view. Now let's define children, and now we need to create two more screens in my pages. First one is going to be dashboard.dart, and third one will be my add decision dot dart. Perfect. Now let's import material.dart. Let's define a stateful widget. Let's call it dashboard. Let's call it scaffold, and now I'm going to use the same material.dart in my add decisions. Let's import stateful. Let's call it add decision. Let's make it scaffold. Perfect. Now let's go to home.dart, and over here I'm going to define children as dashboard first, and second will be add decision, second tab. So this is good. And now in the body we have defined this thing. Now after children we can define bottom navigation bar, right? So it will be after body, so it will be bottom navigation bar. Let's define bottom navigation bar, and in this I'm going to keep it items. So items will be constant items, and it will be, the item type is going to be bottom navigation bar item. So bottom navigation bar item, and after this I'm going to make it a list. And what are the items? They will be, first will be bottom navigation bar item and icon. So icon, I'm going to keep it icons dot home, or you can keep it explore or anything you want to keep it, right? And let's give it a label. So label will be dashboard, or you can keep it explore, or let's keep it dashboard, right? All right, so this is good. And let me just copy this bottom navigation bar item, and I'm going to make this icon as add, and it will be add decision. Perfect. Okay, so now after this list inside my bottom navigation, I'm going to say that current index will be my selected index, and after this I'm going to keep selected item color, app colors dot primary, and the next one will be unselected item color will be colors dot gray dot shade 700 maybe. This is good. And I'm going to create one function in my class home over here. which is going to handle my on tap. Like if I'm tapping on the different tab, it is going to change the index. So void on tapped, and it is going to take the index which is tapped, so index, and it is going to set the state as selected index is equal to index. Perfect. And also my page controller dot jump to page, and index will be index. Perfect. And over here I'm going to say on tapped is on tapped. Perfect. We are ready to refresh it, and we can see the two items. Let me give my app bar also as a background color with app colors dot primary. Beautiful. So we are having this thing over here, and now in my dashboard, let's go to my dashboard. I want to create a stream builder which is going to be listening to all the collection documents on my Firebase, and all these documents are having the decisions data. But for that, first of all, we need to create a decision. So for that, I'm going to go on my add decision.dart, and I'm going to create first of all this file, and then at the last we are going to create the dashboard file. So in the add decision, what we are going to do is we are going to create a question kind of thing, and it is going to ask whether the user wants to create a poll and the options of the poll and all that. But before that, we also need to be ready with the backend of our adding the decision, that is using providers. So I'm going to go inside providers folder. I'm going to create a providers folder, or you can also skip it, but let's create a providers folder in my services. And I'm also going to create a functions folder in my services, and I'm going to add auth functions inside my functions folder. And inside this providers, I'm going to create a provider called let's call it poll provider. So this is going to handle all the stuff that is being entered into a poll, whether the options, whether the title, everything will be cleared once the UI is ready. Poll provider .dart. Perfect. So first of all, we need to create this poll provider. So let's start with the provider. So if you are already having some knowledge of provider, that will be good. But if you don't have, I'll recommend you to watch one tutorial on provider. After watching that, it will be very clear. But if you don't know, still it's good. I'm going to make it very basic. So provider is for state management. So I'm going to create a class, and this will be called polls provider. And I'm going to extend it with a change notifier. So extends a change notifier, and then I'm going to also import this change notifier from material.dart, and then I'm going to initialize some variables. So what comes to your mind whenever you think of polls? Obviously the options. A poll will be having some options, right? So these options will be a list of options. So I'm going to create a list, and I'm going to call it polls options. And in this, let's assign with two options initially, right? So whenever a poll will be created, user is adding a poll to his or her decision, two options, empty options will be created. So empty strings, I'm adding 2. You can add 3, 4, 5, how many options you want to show initially. So this is done. Now list of options. Now what comes next? Polls weights. So let's say there is a poll with 4 options, A, B, C, D. Let's say various number of people have voted for option number A, then 60% weightage is given to option number A, then 30% to option B, then 10% to option C, and 0% to option D. So what are these percentages? They are just the weights of these options. So I'm going to call it map of poll weights. Because key value, because keys will be the option and weights will be the values. So map of poll weights, and it will be an empty map. This is done. Now what next? It will be a poll title. So a user has to give the title of the poll. So I'm going to call it will be string poll title, and I'm going to keep it empty string for now. And this is done. And now let's add some functions also. So I'm going to add some functions. So let me add comment. And sorry, not this. I thought it was Python. And let's call it functions. These were variables, and now I'm adding functions. So first function will be to add the poll options, right? So whenever the poll is created, a poll is being added by the user or creator of that decision, this function will be automatically triggered and options will be added to this poll, right? Why I'm doing this, what is the reason behind it, everything will be clear very soon when we will be coding the UI. Just stay with me for now, right? So add poll options, perfect. And it will be list, so it will be list of value, or I'm just calling this list as value. I'm going to get a list of options. So let me just add it, poll options, which is my this list, will be the value. Whatever list I'm getting, it will be added. So perfect. And what is this? Unidentified poll. Okay, let me just copy this and let me just paste it over here. And I'm going to say notify listeners. Everywhere where the poll options will be like it was getting used, everywhere it will be updated using this notify listeners. This was my first function. Now second function will be to add the poll weights. Add poll weights. And it is also going to get a map of value, and poll weights is equal to value, and it will be notify listeners. Perfect. So this was my second function. Now I'm going to write the third function to add the title. So add poll title, and it is going to get a string value, and I'm going to say the poll title is equal to value and notify listeners. This is all good. Now what is left? Remove poll options. So let's say you wrote a wrong option, or you want to remove an option from the poll. You can also do that. So remove option, and you need to specify the index of that option. So it will be int of index, and I need to say poll options dot remove at index. This is good. And say notify listeners. So we have also removed the poll options. Now we also, if we are removing the option, obviously we have to remove that poll option weight. So remove option weight. Oh, sorry, I did not. Yeah, this is good. And poll weights dot remove at. What is this? Map is not having. Yeah. So poll weights dot remove. Yeah, I think this is not required. Poll weights. Just let me think of it. Okay, let's for now comment this out and let's start coding the UI. So I think this may be confusing for you. So let me just code the UI and then we will come to you. And it is getting confusing for me also. So yeah, so I think let's go to our add decision, yeah, and let's start coding it and let's start using this provider. So in the scaffold, I'm going to define an app bar. Let me check the design which I'm referring. So it is add decision dot. Yes. So no app bar we are providing directly a body, and in this body I'm going to keep it. First of all we have to wrap this body with a consumer so that it is referring to the provider that we have created. So consumer, and I'm going to make it polls provider, and also let me import this consumer. And now I need to define this is good, and I'll define the builder for this. Builder will take a context, builder will take a model, and builder will take a child. This is good. Context model. Okay, so this needs to be removed. Yeah, this is all good. And now I will define a container, and in this container I'll also give some padding. So padding will be edge in sets.all14. I usually give to pages. And after this, I'm going to provide a child with a form. So I also need to define the form key over here too. So let's give, or let me just copy from here, login page, final form key, add decision. Why I'm adding a form key? So that a user should not be able to proceed if he or she hasn't written the title or option name, anything. So form, and I'm going to provide key will be my form key. This is good. And let's remove this, and let me define a child, and to this child I'm going to define a column, children. And in this children, first one will be to provide a row. Row is necessary. Yes, a row is necessary. Or let me just define an elevated button, right? So, or let me just, let's just provide an elevated button for now. And let me remove this, and let me just put the text as add poll, right? Let me just save it. Okay. This error is usual because we haven't initialized our provider in main.dart. So we need to go to main.dart, and we need to say over here, before defining my app in a material app. So before defining this material app, I'm going to return a multi-provider. So it will be multi-provider. And as you know that providers will take a list, and in this list I'm going to define change notifier provider, and change notifier provider is going to take a context, and it is going to take my provider name. All good. And now what we can do is, after this multi-provider we can also give it a child, and this child will be nothing but our material app. So let me just cut this out from here. This all will be clear to you if you are having very clear knowledge of provider package, and it is one of the best packages for state management. So if I just go to add decision, now I can see my button add poll. So let's just go to there, and in the elevated button, now what I want to do is, whenever the user clicks on this add poll button, a poll container should come in front of the user with a title and the options, and the liberty of adding the options for that poll. So now how to do that? So when we are going to click on this elevated button, I want to show a poll container. So let's go to widgets, and let's create a file called let's call it widgets itself, widgets.dart maybe. And in this I'm going to first of all create a poll poll container, like whatever is going to be visible whenever the user clicks on this add a poll. So I'm going to call it let's call it stateful widget, let's call it polls container. And okay, so why there is error in this, let me just again create it. Polls container. Okay, I forgot to import material.dart. Yes, this is good. And now this container is going to also it will be connected to a provider, right? So let me just connect with consumer, and it will be connected to polls provider. And yes, it will be having a builder will be having a context, comma model, comma child. And then we are going to have a card. So it will be a card, and this is not required. Yes, this will be a card, and in this card I'm going to have child, and this child will have a container, and this container will have all the stuff. So I'm going to I'm going to provide a column to this container, and this column will have children. And in this children, first of all I'm going to have a row. Let's wrap with children, and this row is going to have an expanded text form field. This text form field is for nothing but for entering the poll title, or you can say decision title, right? So text capitalization I'll add, so that first letter of this text form field should always be capital. So text capitalization dot sentences, and then I'm going to have cursor color. It will be appcolors.primary. Then I'm going to have maximum number of lines that are allowed, it is 2, and minimum number of lines that are allowed is 1. You can skip these conditions, but I want to keep it very authentic, so that's I'm putting all these conditions. And validator, of course, if the person has not entered the title, he will not be able to move forward. So value, if value dot length is equal to 0 with a null check, I'm going to return enter title, else you can return null. Validator is added. Then you want to add on saved. So whenever the form is saved, now here I'm going to, now here I'm talking about this form which is there in add decision. So this form is connected with this widget, right? Because it's a child of that form, right? So on saved, it will be having a value, and I need to define yes. So here I'm going to add this model dot add poll. Okay, so model is not defined. Why? I've wrapped this. Okay, context model it will be, not value. So on saved, model dot add polls title value. Perfect. So let's add a null check. So what is happening? Whenever the form will be saved, model dot adds poll title. So let's go over here. You can see it is taking a value which is nothing but my poll title that the user would have entered in the text form field, and it will be assigned to this poll title. So now this poll title can be accessed from anywhere where we will be using this polls provider. So this is the beauty of using the provider. So let's go back to widgets.dart, and this is added. Now it's our task to give it some styling, but for now I'm going to go in add decision, and instead of this elevated button, for now I'm going to assign polls container. Let's save it. You can see this is my card. If you are not able to see, this is my card, right? This is good. And now the user will be able to enter the title. Let's say, what should I eat for dinner today? Or should I go to US or Canada for business? Or which car should I buy? So these are all the decision titles. And after that, polls. So user can also create options. User can give other users options to select one option. So for that, I need to use column. So let's go to widgets, and after this row, I'm going to give it, let's define a column, and let's give it children. And in this children, I'm going to say for it will be int I equal to 0, I less than model dot poll options dot length. So how many options are there? It will be accessed over from here, I plus plus. And after this, I'm going to add a container. So this one container will be one option container. So container, it will be, let's for now just give margin and decoration. Margin, vertical, and it is 10, around 10 from vertical. And let's give it decoration, box decoration, and box decoration should be, yes, let's give it colors dot white, and let's give it border radius dot circular, let's give it 10, and this will automatically look beautiful now. Option and border radius we have added. Yes, this is good. And now what should be add? Yes, let's give it child. So after this, let's give it child. Child will be a row. For row, I'm adding because one will be cross button to remove that option, and another child will be the blank space for entering the option title. So it will be row and children. And after this children, I'm going to add an icon button. On press will be empty for now. Icon, I'm going to write icons dot close. Yes, this is good. And after this, let me just save it for now. You can see 2. Why 2? Because if you will go in provider, you can see we have added 2 options for now, but these are empty. That's why we are not able to see anything, but we haven't added the text form field even. So let me just go to this widgets, and after this this icon button, I'm going to add an expanded text form field. Okay, so let me add a validator. On saved will be added, of course. So let me just first of all add a validator, because user will not be able to move forward unless until he or she has written the option. If he has added an option, that means he or she has to add the option title or option. So I'm going to give it a validator. Let me just copy the same validator from here. Good. Enter option. Let me just save it. You can see the text form field, right? Good. Okay, so this is good. And now after this text form field, value is added. Now on saved. Yes, on saved. After this validator, we have to add the on saved thing. On saved will also take a value. Now where will this value go? Let me add this. So it will go model dot poll options. Yes, so we created a I think we created a list. Yes, so model dot polls options. Yes, we cannot directly use dot add, because again it will be this empty strings we need to replace. So model dot polls options at I. Yes, at I, because we are having this index at I will be equal to this value. And also we need to update our model dot poll weights. Model dot polls weights at widget, it will be value at value, because key will be nothing but my option, right? Is equal to 0, because initially 0% weight will be there to each and every option. And why this value? Because as I told before, I'm using a map for weights. Key will be the title that the user has entered, and value will be the percentage of how many votes the option has got. So this is good, and this is all over. So we also need to, yeah, this is good. So let me just save it. And we are all set with the card. This is very ugly, I know, but we are going to improve it. And after this, I'm also going to add, okay, let me just check the design. Text button. No, this is not required. This is good. Yes. So one text button will be there. So after this column, I'll add a sized box. Height will be 10. And after this, I'm going to add a text button with on press, and on press I'm going to add very soon, and the text will be add an option. Beautiful. Let me just save it. Yes, you can see add an option. So let me just wrap this text button with a row so that it should be on the left hand side. So row will be main axis alignment dot start. Beautiful. Nothing is happening because we haven't added the code. So in on press, I'm going to say model dot add. So we already know model dot add poll options, and it will be model dot poll options. Okay, so why are we having this value? Let me just check this function. So model dot options list of value. Okay, so we are taking a list of value. So over here, this is for final thing. We are missing one function for adding an option. This is this I think will not require only, but let me just add that function which we require currently. So it will be add poll option, not options. Options I think we will not require this. Let me just comment it out. Add poll option, and this is not going to take anything. Yeah, it is not going to take anything, and it will add. So poll options, it is a list dot add, and it will add just a empty value for string, right? And notify listeners. So we are just adding one empty value. So as you know that currently we started with 2 empty values, and as soon as I'm going to click this, one more empty value will be added. Now it's the time to focus. Now another empty value will be added to this list, which means that one more row will be added with the cross button and the text form field. Why? Because this poll options is used where? Over here in the column where it is accessing this part, right? So another thing will be updated because we are using provider, using consumers, everything will be in real time, right? So let me just use this function, model.add poll option, and let me just put the semicolon. And now if I just click on this, nothing is happening. Let me just refresh. So let me go to add a decision and let me click, and yes, you can see you can add as many options as you want to add. And if you can see the error, so what you can do is over here, this is your homework, note this down. You have to add over here a simple condition if the poll options are exceeding 5. So or if the user has already added 5 options, then you have to prompt a message, you have exceeded the number of options limit, right? You can do this, it's very simple, right? So this is good. And let me now let's just add this functionality, this cross functionality. So what I'll do is I'll also again go in poll provider, and I'm going to remove all these useless functions, and I'm going to write one more function called remove option, and it is going to remove the option from the bottom, right? So I'm going to use this poll options dot remove last. Perfect. Notify listeners. Let me just save it. And over here in the widgets, I'm going to add a functionality to this cross button. Yes, over here, model dot remove an option. Perfect. Let me just refresh. Over here, add an option, cross it to remove an option. Perfect. All set. Now let's try to make this beautiful because this is looking really ugly. So I've already copied the decoration code for this text field. Yes. And I'm going to add it over here. Let me just save it. Okay, nothing much, but still that line is gone. That's good. So now let me just copy the card decoration and these 3 decorations also. And don't worry, you are going to get the code. So even if I'm skipping this part, that should matter because you're going to get the code obviously, right? Yes. So now you can see that it really looks good now. Like not that much, not as an app to make it public on App Store or Play Store, but yeah, this is still better than the previous card that we had, right? So now I don't think that button is required, that is to add a polls. I think whenever the user clicks on this, he or she should get this screen, right? I don't think that button should be required. So let's just skip that part. Let's make it simple and to the point. And so whenever the user will switch this, he will be able to see this. And I don't think this blue and green are getting matched. So let me just change the primary color. Where is my utils? Yes, to blue itself, so that everything looks blue. Instead of changing this button's color, let me just change this primary color and let's have everything blue. Yeah, this is good. So currently 2, you can add an option. Beautiful. Now my task is to, whenever the user clicks, let me also provide a final done button. So over here, I'm going to go over there, the column, this is good. Over here, I'm going to, yes, inside the column, first of all, I'll have a sized box with the height of 10, and finally I'm going to have an elevated button on press. Child will be a text. Upload decision. This button, right? So whenever I'm going to click it, every data of this form will be uploaded to Firebase. Perfect. So let's add that function. Yes, let's add that function in. So we have services, we have functions. Let's add a file called Firebase Functions dot. And over here, I'm going to create a function. Let's call it save decision. And this thing is going to take a map of polls weights, right? And it is going to also take yes, the title, the string title of the decision. So title, and let's make it async. Let me just show you what I've written. Yes, async. And finally await Firebase Firestore dot instance dot collection. I'm going to call it decisions collection, decisions dot add yes, in the add I'm going to write poll weights. Just a second, what's happening? Yeah, poll weights will be my poll weights. Then who has created the decision? So UID will be current user dot UID, and then finally let's put a null check, and UID poll weights, or what you can add is you can also add the time, but I'm going to keep it simple, so I'll not add the time when the decision is created. So poll weights and UID. Let's keep this thing. Yeah, so I think this is enough, and now let's call this function. So let's go to there's one more thing that I need to do. No, that's it. So let's go to add a decision, and this is also wrapped with post provider. Yes, and this is not value, this is model, right? Yeah, so elevated button on press, I'm going to call save decision. Poll weights will be model dot polls weight. Title will be model dot poll title. Perfect. So let's do this, and I'm also going to call a scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar, and snack bar will be created, not snack bar action, snack bar will be created with text content as decision uploaded. Perfect. So let me just refresh, let me open it up, add a decision. Which laptop should I buy? Number 1 Acer, number 1 MacBook, add an option. Number 3 HP, and number 4 Dell. Not there. Yes, Dell. Click on upload decision uploaded. Go over there in the Firebase. If it is not there, that means we have done some mistake. Let's refresh it. Let's see what we get. We are getting the users. Let's go to Firebase database. Okay, it will not be added because we haven't initialized this also. So let's click on create a database, test mode, click on next, click on enable, and we also make changes in rules of this Cloud Firestore app. Yes, so let's make some changes in the rules, and for now I'm going to make this thing as if true, and this is good. Publish. Okay, so semicolon is not, yeah, it's there. Let's publish. Yes, we are ready to go. Let's go in data, and now let me just click on upload decision uploaded. Okay, it's so damn fast. Let's see if it is really added or not. No, it's not added. That means we are doing something wrong. So let me just check what's the error we are doing. Okay, let's just first of all print these things. Print model dot poll title, print model. Just a second, we are not saving the form. This is the most dumbest mistake that we are doing. We are not saving the form. So if my form key dot current state dot validate, we are going to say form key dot current state dot save, and then we can call this thing. Yes, I hope it should work now. Let's see. So this is all set. Let me click on upload decision. It's so damn fast. Let me see if we are really uploading it. And I think we also need to log out once, because okay, so this is added. Why 3 decisions? First of all, it was not added, right? Okay, I really don't like this. So let me just clear all these collections and let's do it again. Let's delete it. Users, I think we are having 1 user. Okay, this is good. And let me just click on upload a decision uploaded. Let's refresh, and I only want 1 decision, not 3 decisions. So yes, one decision, poll weights 0000 and the user ID who has created. Perfect. This is all good. Everything is going good till now. And now it's the time to draw the dashboard page where we are going to show all these polls and the other users. Anyone who is there on the application can click on the option and the the output or the result will be saved inside it. So we have forgot one thing, so I'm going to add it manually over here, but we will be adding it in the function also. So user option, okay, polls weight is there, users who voted. Yes, users who voted. This means that the people who have already voted. So if you have already voted for a decision, you should not be able to vote again, right? So users who voted, it will be a list, we can say. So an array, and it will not be a string. We will keep it empty for now. Yes, it's an empty array. So whenever the user will be voting, his or her user ID will be added inside this list. Or we should also be able to save the out or the result, not the result, the option that I am choosing. Let's say I am choosing option A. So my user ID should be mapped with that option, right? So this should not be an array. This should be a map. So let me just add a field, users who voted. It will be a map with no entry for now. And over here inside the function where I created this thing, for the next time it should be users who voted, and it should be an empty map. Perfect. All set. Now this dashboard screen is only left. After that, it's all gone. It's all finished. Done with the tutorial. Perfect. So let's go to this dashboard.dart. Okay, so let's try to design this dashboard screen. So first of all, in the scaffold, we have already added the app bar in the previous home screen. So I'm going to add a body direct, and this body I'm going to give a container, and this container will have padding. And as you know that I always give 14 padding to the pages. And container is added, then child, then column, then children. First one will be expanded because over here in the expanded, I'm going to have my list of decisions. So let me just put red color to this container, colors dot red, and yes, you can see. So this is it. And now we need to add child to this container. So let me add child stream builder, and this stream builder will be having a type of query snapshot because we are going to query the collection. So it will be query query snapshot builder. Before builder, we need to define the stream. It will be Firebase firestore dot instance dot collection decisions dot snapshots. And over here I'm going to define builder. Builder will have context comma snapshot, and I'm going to have yes, this is good. Yes, first of all, if snapshot dot connection state is equal to connection state dot waiting with the null check, not null check, connection state snapshot dot it is connection, yeah, it is connection state. Okay, I wrote connection. This is good. And if it is waiting, then I'm going to return center child circular progress indicator, and else I'm going to return list view dot builder. And over here in the else, I'm going to also define final docs is equal to snapshot dot data dot docs with a null check. And in the item count, I'm going to say docs dot length. That means how many decisions are there in the collection. Only those many containers I want to create over here. And it will be item builder context comma index return let's say card for now. So let's add semicolon, let's add semicolon, let's save it. And okay, nothing is there. Why? Let me just refresh. Let's try to give it container this height, let's say 100, and width, let's say 100. Now let's see. Yes, we are getting it. That means it was loading, but we did not give the dimension. That's why it was not visible. Okay, so now it is the time to have the last part of this video, that is to design this container, the poll widget. So I'm going to go inside my widgets. I'm going to call, okay, so there is widgets.dart. Let's create polls widget now. We created polls container. Now I'm going to create polls widget. So let me just create over here stateful widget, and let's call it polls widget. That means the widget which is going to be visible on the dashboard for polls, right? Let's add, okay, this is a container. Let me see the design so that we can design it very fastly. So for this polls widget, I'm going to have a container which will have a margin of 10 from the top, so that some spacing should be there between each and every polls container, right? Sorry, polls widget. And after this, I'm going to have a child of card, and let me also give it the design first of all. So I'm pasting it. So I've added shadow, elevation, color, and shape. So this is about card. Now let's give it a child. Now in this child, what I want to give is, and first of all, let me also go inside my dashboard, and instead of returning this container, I'm going to return polls widget. Yes. And let me go inside polls widget, and let me remove child for now, and let's see if we are getting this thing. Yes, it will not be visible. So let's go inside dashboard and remove the red color, and let me just save it. Yes, we are not getting anything. Let me go inside polls widget, card, shape. Yes. Now in the class, I'm also going to add some stuff. That means I'm taking some parameters. So let me remove all these comments, and let me explain. So first of all, I'm taking the decision ID. Now what is my decision ID? My decision ID is this ID. This is my decision ID, right? So as you know that this decision ID is going to be unique for each and every decision. So this will be my separator. So this is going to make my decision unique. So I'm going to take the decision ID for this polls widget is going to take the decision ID. Decision title will be this title. Okay, we haven't added the title itself. So let me add a field title string. And what was my title? It was which laptop should I buy? Which laptop should I buy? And let's just add it, and let's add it in the functions also. So after this, I'm going to have title. Yes, title will be title. Nice. This will be inside quotes. Perfect. This is done. Now let's get back to widget, decision title, and message by ID will be this ID, the user ID who has created this decision. So message by ID, or you can, what you can keep, creator ID. Perfect. So now let's create a constructor. So I am adding final fields. Let's make all of them required, and let's make the last one also required. Yes. So this is added, and okay, so these are also there. Required. Save it. Perfect. Now let me just show in the card the decision title. So what I'll do is, inside this card, I'll add a child, I'll add a column, I'll add children, I'll add text, and inside this text I'm going to add widget dot decision title. Let me just save it. In the dashboard, I'll go and let's just add all the parameters which are required. So let me just add poll widget decision ID. So decision ID will be docs at index at decision ID will be, okay, docs at index dot ID. Perfect. Decision title will be docs at index at title. Creator ID docs at index at UID. Poll weights will be docs at index. Poll weights. Okay. Poll. Make sure that you are using the same keys, right? I'm picking the keys from here. Title, UID, user voted, everything. So it will be docs at index. Users who voted. Users who voted. Perfect. Let me just save it. And you can see which laptop should I buy. So if I just go over here and let me create one more decision, which fruit is healthy, apple or mango? Upload the decision. Go to dashboard. You can see the second decision. Now we need to use the polls package to show options also, right? So let me just pick some code from repository that I have created, and you are also having the same code. So now I'm again in my polls widget, and instead of this text, I'm going to remove it and I'm going to paste this code, and let me remove the commented part. Yes, so I've added an expanded, I've added an row, and in this row I'm having this expanded, which is having the text and decision title and with the font size. Let me just save it. You can see now it is better. Now let's add the second thing. So let me just get out of this row and let's add the second thing, which will be a column, or you can say polls. All the options will be visible. Let me just pick some code. So over here I'm going to paste some code, and don't worry, it is going to just give you a shock, but I'm going to explain each and every line. Paste. Yes. So over here I'm having this polls. Let me just import polls. Perfect. Icon color. So everything will be visible to you once I'll hit Control S, that is save. Children. It is going to go inside widget.pollweights.keys. Now you only tell me what is there inside pollweights.keys. So which is poll weights is a map, right? So if I go in my database, you can see pollweights.keys. What are these keys? They are nothing but my poll options. So that's why I'm going inside this pollweights.keys.tolist.length. That means how many keys are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 4 options. So I'm going inside it. I'm picking the length, and there will be 4 options. And as many options I'm having, I'm using a for loop. Those many poll options I'm going to create. So you can see polls.options. Title of this poll option will be widget.pollweights.keys.tolist at I. That means if I'm talking about index 0, that means Acer, index 1, Dell, index 2, HP, index 3 will be Mac, right? So this is the funda. Allow creator vote. This means this is everything. All these parameters are inside this polls, the package which we had written in pubspec.yaml, right? So allow creator vote means whether you want to allow the creator of this decision to vote or not. So yeah, I want to allow true. Question. So what is the question? So let me just comment it out. If it is okay, it is required. So let's just put the empty string. Outline color. So this is all about UI. This you can change. Current user will be current user.uid. Let me just import that, and let me put a null check. And yes, so creator ID, widget.message by ID, not widget.creator ID. I have created widget.creator ID. You can see I have taken as a parameter. Okay, this is all good. Okay, so vote data. Yeah, where we were. Yeah, creator ID. Now vote data. So this parameter takes the users who have already voted, right? So widget.users who voted, right? So widget.users who voted will be the users who have already voted, which we are saving over here in the map. Perfect. Okay, this is good. Leading background color. This will be a UI part. It will be visible to you. User choice. Now this is the choice the user is clicking on, right? So widget.pollweights.key, that means all the options, .list.index of widget.users who voted at widget.decision ID. I know this is very confusing. So this is the choice which we need to save in this map, right? So this users who voted is a map. Keys will be the user ID of the users, and value will be the option that they are selecting, right? So user choice will be if the person, now this is the condition which will be seen when the user has already voted. This polls package will find if the user has voted or not using this map. If the user ID, current user ID is there in this map, this means that user has already voted and he or she cannot vote again, right? So that's why user choice will be the value which is present at the user ID as key Yeah, I think this is pretty much clear to you. And when I'll be voting, you will see what I'm talking about, right? On vote background means like whether if the poll is clicked on, what will be the background of that. So this is all UI, right? On vote. Now this is the most important part. When I'm clicking on that option, poll option, what should happen? First of all, I want the users who have already voted. So map users who voted is widget.users who voted. Now I also want all the weights. Currently, what are the weights of the polls? And when I'm going to click on that any poll option, weights will obviously change, right? So I want the previous states. So these are all the current state when I haven't yet clicked on a poll, right? Where selected option. This is the option that I have selected. So widget.pollweights.keys.list at choice -1. So why choice -1? Because you know that arrays start from index 0, but in polls, arrays start from 1. So that's why I'm going to choice -1. That means if I'm selecting index number 1, it should be referred to del, right? Not Acer. But in polls, it will refer to Acer. That's why I'm subtracting -1. That's why. So this was the thing. So when I'm selecting it, I want to set the state, because you know that if I'm clicking on the poll option, state will be changed. The weights will be changed, right? So set state, poll weights, this poll weights. So that means this one, the poll weights, the previous map. I'm going to update that map, and I'm going to update this one, the value. So if it is 0 currently, if I'm clicking on Acer, it should be 1. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking the previous selected option and I'm updating the value by 1. And users, yes. And in the same way, I'm also updating users who voted map. So when I'm clicking on an option, my user ID, that means my ID should be added in this map, right? So I'm doing the same thing. I'm adding the key as my current user ID, as you can see. So let me add a null check. So current user ID will be the key, and the value will be the option that guy or girl has selected, right? Now let me import this Firebase Firestore, because now we need to update all this stuff. Yes, so go in decisions, go in that decision ID, update the poll weights, update the users who voted, and we are done. So let me just hit refresh. You can see my options. Now I just need to add padding in my card. Not there. So I'll remove it. Where should I add? Should I add over here? Should I add? This is my container. I added the padding. This is my card. Yes, I think over here in the column, it should be wrapped with a padding, and padding should be this. Yes, now it is removed. It is happening. So I'll make it 10, and this is all good, man. This is all good. So this is really beautiful. Okay. So now you can see that if I'm going to, currently you can see all are 000. If I'm going to click on Mac is 100% and Mac is 1 over here. This is the beauty of application development. So you can see Mac is now 1 now, and you can see that now even if I'm going to refresh it, I will not be able to vote for this poll again, because in the users who voted, you can see my user ID, and it is also going to tell me that I have selected Mac. Right? So even if I'll refresh it, stop the app, anything you want to do, you will not be able to vote again because you have already selected map. Yeah. So if I'm going to click which fruit is healthy, I say apple, and if I go in that decision, apple will be 1, and you can see users who voted, my user ID, and the option. Right? So yeah, guys, this was it, and I'm going to provide this code to you. Don't worry. And you can see, you can add a decision, you can add dashboard, anything you want to do. So this was beautiful. I hope that you like this video. And yeah, just remember that I have an agency, app development, web development, and UI UX services. If you want our services, you can reach out to us through our website, through our social media channels. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you like my work. If you like it, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. And till the next content, keep coding, keep innovating, and thanks a lot.